didn't know this was Trinity Sunday, so I said yes. Trinity Sunday is the Sunday they want you to explain the Trinity. Let me tell you that in all of the theological education I've had in the United States, in Israel, in Australia, in England, they've all been very careful to begin talking about the Trinity by saying it's a mystery. We shall leave it at that. What is not a mystery is that you call a new rector. Rector time served, to be exact, of whom I hear wonderful things, and I'm sure that this will be a very exciting time for St. Matthias, and good things are ahead of you. I don't know much about the Trinity, but I know a whole lot about clergy coming and going in parishes. I have been a part of it in, I don't know, 25, 30 parishes at least, as a consultant and as an interim rector. And it might be more helpful this morning if I share with you some things about clergy coming into parishes. Some things I know from parishes and some things I know from clergy. Let's start by thinking about Brenda's first service here on July the 13th, when she will process down the aisle. You're going to have one service that morning at 10 o'clock, I understand, so you can all be there to welcome her. You've been praying about her for a while, and it's good to have her come in here and good to be there with her. But as she comes down the aisle the first time, I want you to understand some things that are going on in her head. First, she will think that everybody she sees in the pew is a member of this church. May or may not be true. Secondly, she will think that everybody she sees is a regular worshiper at this church, that they come every Sunday. May or may not be true. She will think, happily, that everybody that she sees has a living relationship with Jesus Christ. May or may not be true. And there will be variations in the depth of those relationships with Jesus. She will think that everybody she sees is in some mixture of excitement and anticipation and hope and interested in what lies ahead for St. Matthias and her ministry with you here in this place. She'll think you're all glad to see her here and you're all ready to go to work. May or may not be true. She'll think that everyone is willing to go to work for St. Matthias, if not for God, and for God's kingdom here. All of those things are partially, but not totally true. But she's going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And she's going to look at you and think, we're ready to go on this great adventure. And these are the people that God has given me to go on this adventure with. And isn't this wonderful? And the truth is that perhaps your most dedicated member will not be here on July the 13th. Perhaps people will have walked in the door for the first time. Perhaps some people are going to be a little distressed about being a clergy on a permanent basis. A lot of stuff will be going on. She is going to have the best hope for you. I hope you will have the best hope for her. But let me tell you, she has some failings. She missed the course in seminary about mind reading 101. She will not know when you go to the hospital unless you tell her. She will not know when you are in trouble in your life unless you share that with her. She will not know the ups and downs in her life, her spiritual journey, unless you talk with her. The reason she missed the course is not she was a bad student, it's that they don't teach it. Everyone thinks they do. They don't. You're going to have to open up and share with her. She will actually, believe it or not, make some mistakes. All priests do. She will make some changes. Sometimes intentionally, often, and I would think far more often, unintentionally. There will be some changes going on. Things will be different. Things will be different because of the tone of her voice. There'll be a lot different because she doesn't look at all like John. I've seen her picture. Yeah. And so you'll have some more men here because I have seen the picture. And there will be some men coming to see her in person. So things will be a little different, but it'll be what it is. As she is here, as she meets you and listens to you and learns about you, she will pick up what parts of those things are true for each person here. Those that will miss her first Sunday and those who will come later and even those who will come for the first time. She will hear about all sorts of things and she will share in your stories and find her place in them as you open them up to her. You will, if you open up and make yourself vulnerable and try and share your real self, enter into a relationship with her. And this is what it's all about. You do not hire clergy. You discern who God's calling. You call them to come into your midst so that you can form a relationship with them. And when you form the relationship, then the good stuff about Jesus and God can happen. I've got to say that again and again. I hate it when someone says, we hired a priest. No, you didn't. You called one in to be in a relationship with you and to learn to love them so that they can love you. There's a reason for it. It's because it's what Jesus did. Jesus called a bunch of fishermen off a boat and said, come, go for a walk with me. Listen to stories. See what happens. You know, go places with me. Share meals with me. We'll laugh, we'll joke, we'll talk. We'll fall in love with each other. And the world will change. And it did. This is the adventure you're being called upon to go on. You're being called to come off of the boat, as it were, stop fishing, and get into a living, loving relationship with someone who will be with you and interact with you, and who will make your journey good. You know, it's interesting to me that when Jesus sent out that invitation, lives were changed, except for a few times. And a few times when people held back and pulled back and withdrew, when they wouldn't listen to what he was saying but were working on their own agenda, things went pretty bad. Think about the Pharisees, think about the Sadducees, think about the rich young rulers. As you open up, that will set what will happen in this relationship, or whether it will be a relationship at all. You need to be open. And what does openness look like? First off, I suggest that you be alive. You know, that's the big aim. You know, the signs of death are you don't breathe, your heart doesn't work, your eyes are fixed and dilated, and you don't get here. Be alive to the person. Be open to Brenda. The second thing is to think about how you want and what you want to build this relationship on. You know, if we put 4 sides of concrete together, and if it goes down about 24 inches into the ground, and if it comes about 24 inches up out of the ground, we call that a foundation. If it comes up out of the ground about 8 or 10 feet, we call it a wall. Make sure what you offer to her is a foundation, not a wall. Be open so that she can come in and be in your midst and share life with you. That's just so important. And how do you do that? Let me make a suggestion. When she asks you a question, please do not begin with the answer. The way we do it at St. Matthias is. The answer is, in the past we have done such and such, which leaves it open to doing new ministry, or perhaps in a different way in the future. The 7 last words of the church, you know it, right? But we've always done it that way. It cuts off anything new or different or whatever. Be open to her. Tell her, give her information. Yeah, we've done it this way. And then maybe you could even add a little question like, how would you like to do it? What have you seen that works? Everywhere I've gone, every parish I have been to, and I've been to lots of them, they have all taught me something of worth and value. The worst ones I have ever been in at least taught me not to go back there. Everyone has something to share with you. Be open. Share with her. Let her share her experiences with you. She has learned stuff. Offer yourself. Offer yourself to her as she comes here, and be open and available to her. I told John and Kay Gray were here, and they knew right away what I was going to talk about. There was a wonderful, absolute, perfect Virginia gentleman at a church I came to serve, Good Shepherd, on Forest Hill Avenue. His name was Bill Gillette. I started my first service on a Sunday. Monday, Bill came to the office and said, "Can I have a word?" Sure. Thought it was early for him to start yelling at me, but anyway. He said, "I'm coming by on Wednesday, and you're going to drive. I'll tell you where to go, but we're going to go visit Harvey Price. And you need to meet Harvey." So on Wednesday he came, we got in the car, gave me the directions, we went to see Harvey Price. On the way over, he told me about Harvey and his work at Good Shepherd and things he had done there and how he was a pillar of the church. We went into the house, he introduced me to Harvey, introduced Harvey to me, we shared stories, got back in the car, and he said, "Harvey, probably be your first funeral," and he was. And the next Monday, Bill came in the office and said, "I'm going to come pick you up on Wednesday." And he said, "We're going to go see Eleanor." And I said, "Okay." So he came on Wednesday, we got in the car, I drove, he gave directions, I saw. He introduced me to every shut-in person at Good Shepherd, personally. He shared with me their history, their place in the parish. I couldn't have gotten that knowledge anywhere else except through long, hard work with him. The shut-ins and I became friends because of Bill's ministry to me. Offer yourself. Don't say, "You need to go see so-and-so." Say, "Let me take you to see so-and-so. Let me share with you who this person, let me tell you why this person is valuable in our community, what they've done with us." And it's the same with every other ministry here in this church. You know, this is how we do the food pantry. This is how we do, we have a garden out here. This is how we do the garden. Come look and see what's growing in it. Offer yourself. Begin with that. In return, she'll give herself to you. Two things I tell every parish that they have to do. Do them. They're important. Pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on in the parish and the life of the parish. Who's here, who's not here, who's doing what, who's backing away, who's coming forward. Pay attention to things like that and tell the truth. Some people come forward and get very loud because they're loud, bossy people. And that may be information you need to share sometimes. That may be a lot more helpful than letting her find it out the hard way. Sometimes people pull back because they're shy, and she may think that, you know, that they're put off by her or something. It's like, you know, Tom is a little bit shy, but if you ask him to do something, he'll really come forward. Pay attention to what's going on. Watch what things are happening in the church and tell the truth about it. Don't put stuff, you know, try to brush stuff under the rug. That won't work. It'll come back and get you. In every church I've ever been in where there has been trouble, and I've been in a lot of it, it's because people stopped paying attention and they stopped telling the truth. Pay attention. Tell the truth. Another thing that will be very helpful in your ministry with her and her ministry here is to go one more step. You think you're done? No. Just go one more step. How important that is. Think about the people who witnessed the resurrection, the women. They were women, not men. They witnessed the resurrection. Why? Jesus was dead. Jesus was put in a tomb. But they wanted to go one more step. They wanted to prepare his body properly for burial. So they went to the tomb with the things to prepare his body, and they witnessed the resurrection. Go one more step. Think about that. I mean, how easy is that in so many things in the life of the church? You know, you're writing your check for $15. Go one more step. Make it 20. Just a little bit more. You don't have to knock yourself out and die. Just one more step, and what a difference it will make. Be that with her. Practice grace. Practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is so important. She will make some mistakes. She will do some things that you don't like. Be forgiving. It's so much easier to forgive than it is to hate. Let me tell you. If you hate, it's something you carry way too long and it gets way too heavy. So practice a lot of forgiveness. And if you have a question, ask the question of her. Don't ask the question of someone else. That's not helpful. Go to her and ask her. Be polite, be humble, be open, and she'll tell you. You may find out some of the things that go on. I think I've told this story here before, but I'll tell it to you again. It's a good story. Years ago, Walton Davis went to be the rector of St. Paul's Church in Norfolk. His first Sunday there was the first Sunday of a woman on the altar guild, and she was trying to get it right. And back in the old days, when we used to move the missal from one side of the altar to the other, all that kind of ritual. Well, she got a little confused, and she put the missal on the wrong side of the altar. Walton is getting ready to go in for the 8 o'clock service, his first service at the church, and he looks up and he goes, got the missal on the wrong side of the altar. The head of the altar guild is in the congregation. She sees it at the same time. She goes, oh my God, it's on the wrong side of the altar. What will he think about us? I'll tell you what he thought about it. He said, I guess that's the way they do it here. And started up the aisle. As he's going up the aisle, the head of the altar guild says, what is he going to think about us? And she well, that's the way he likes it. For 40 years, that church started with the missal on the wrong side of the altar. Finally, I was singing in the choir at St. Paul's, getting bells in the tower chamber there, getting vested. And a new woman on the altar guild says to the chair of the altar guild, why do you start the service with the missal on the wrong side of the altar? And the chair of the altar guild says, because that's the way Mr. Davis likes it. He comes out of his office, says, I never saw it like that till I got here. There will be some instances of stuff like that. Be forgiving, let it go. If you want to know, ask. Maybe someone will just have made a mistake, but be open. This is so exciting. I hope you are excited and ready for this adventure that you're going to go on. Allow lots of open room for grace, and be there. I think you're going to go to a whole new, exciting place. And so, get ready. Let us affirm our faith in the Word